Hello and welcome back to our second live stream session here at Greensboro College. So before we jump into what we're going to be getting into later on in the episode, which we have a phenomenal guest, and I'm super excited about this. Let's recap the last episode. And I wanted to point out something in particular that is really interesting. So we have created and claimed this hashtag GC Analytics. And the call to action for you guys, if you're listening on stream here, is that I want you to join in and start posting about the things you learn on these lectures, tag this hashtag, and then on Thursday, I'm going to help my students create their own LinkedIn posts with this hashtag and also review all the other posts and also comment. So this is an opportunity for us to all kind of grow together, and some opportunities already starting to come out of this. So let's move on to this slide. So we've got posts from Devin, great job, Cole. And then this one is really interesting with Davis. So Davis was the person who did most of the heavy lifting last lecture. So I threw him into the deep end of the pool. Davis, you did a fantastic job of working with a huge data set, throwing it into a pivot chart and uncovering some insights. So if you guys haven't seen the first episode, go back and watch that. But I want to show you the value and the utility of posting on LinkedIn. So I had no idea that Davis's father owns a business here in Greensboro. And he saw that post and said, hey, we've got huge amounts of data. Why don't we just throw you one of our data sets? And that's what we're going to be looking at on Thursday in class, is some data from this real business. Now, I don't think we're going to be able to live stream it, unfortunately, because it's probably private data. But I just wanted to let everyone who's watching know that come join us on LinkedIn, and let's start to bring some opportunities in your life too. All right. So today we're going to be talking all about marketing analytics, and we have a phenomenal guest, someone who's new. So I have been introduced to Jim Stern through Matecraft, and he is a Santa Barbarian. So let me bring him on in. Jim, how's it going?
Great. Thanks for inviting me along.
So you were about to intro yourself because you logged in a few minutes before this, and I was like, wait. Let's save it for the stream. So who are you and what's going on in your world?
So the question that prompted that was, do I use Power BI? Do I use Tableau? Do I use Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics? And the answer is no. I am not an analytics practitioner. My first job out of school was selling Apple IIe's out of a retail store. And then I sold business computers to companies that had never owned one before. I sold enterprise level software development tools for optimizing Fortran and COBOL. Yes, I am that old. And then in 93, I'd been aware of the internet, but in 93, Mosaic was released. So the World Wide Web happened. And I went, oh, wait, that changes everything. So I started doing consulting, public speaking, writing books about online marketing. And in 2000 said, this is interesting, but my opinion is just my opinion. And I discovered that there was this thing called web analytics. So I got very excited and wrote another book and put on a conference and started a professional association about digital analytics. So I've been at the center of online analytics from the start as an industrial cheerleader. My latest book is Artificial Intelligence and Marketing. So, yet here's another technology. How do we use it? So marketing is the through line. Analytics is the tool. And now machine learning is the natural extension of that. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right. So I don't know. It's funny. So Matt Bratton is a hiring manager, and he's on almost every one of our streams here. And he's in Fresno, so he's not too far from you out in California. But he says, impressive journey. I feel bad. I'm trying to manage the chat and talk to you. And
yeah, good luck with that. I'll be happy to vamp and talk and just stretch things out while you read all of the content.
Yeah, it's so much easier when I have a guest because I can listen to you. I'm listening, but I'm also multitasking.
I appreciate that I don't have to read at the same time.
Raj, thanks for coming on. Dina, glad to see you in here again. All right. So let me pull the deck back up. So here's the agenda for today. So we're going to have our expert interview, and I did want to pull in. So Aiden, I'm totally going to throw you in the hot seat here. We briefly covered email marketing on our Thursday in-person class. And I want him to explain it to you in kind of like a mock interview type setting and just get him in that hot seat. And then maybe you can give him some feedback on how to improve his conversational skills. Then once we're done with, your kind of interview, we'll jump into more traditional type lecture. And then we're going to wrap up with our email marketing project. So over the past 2 years, I've been collecting emails. And what we're going to do this week is create an A/B split test, break the students into 2 teams, and they're going to compete for who can resonate more with my audience, which I think is going to be really fun. And then also, actually one more thing. So Davis, I'm going to bring you back in, and we are going to clean up that data file that you worked on in lecture 1 so that we can have a data set to work with in Power BI on Thursday. And then I'll ask you to send that to all the students. All right. So now that's out of the way, we got some of the housekeeping done. So Jim, broad question here. What is marketing analytics?
Marketing analytics starts with marketing measurement. So how are we doing? How is it going? And the important question that we're trying to answer forever is, if I'm spending this much on marketing, what should I expect to be getting back in sales? And it is the impossible question. But we have ways of approaching it. There are proxy numbers that can help us identify. So if we do banner ads, how many impressions, how many clicks, how many conversions? If we're doing social media posts, how many impressions, how many clicks, how many retweets, how many likes? Those are numbers that help us see whether we're making more or less progress. What kind of messaging is resonating with our target audience, with our micro segmentations, etc. So it starts with measurement, and then it's just using the numbers to figure out how to spend our marketing dollar more wisely.
Interesting. So I'm starting to, we're complete opposites, by the way. I'm a practitioner that is moving into the more education space. So I started my own consulting agency a few years back. And what's funny is I kind of headed more towards the sales and marketing analytics side of things. I just find it interesting. But so I guess I'm like really lucky in that almost all the marketing data that I'm working with, I have a marketing team that just like tracks all of that. So nice. Is that a huge hurdle for most organizations? Like, where's the biggest pain point? Is it that, like, because maybe I don't even know that what I don't know, because like they set up the Google instance for me, and I can see on our learning platform website, where people are coming from, what time of day, what social, like if it's social. We're just starting to dabble in buying ads, which is new. So where's the major challenge in like data governance from a marketing standpoint?
The running joke is that data scientists spend 80% of their time cleaning the data. They spend 5% of their time analyzing the data, and they spend 15% of their time complaining about the 80%. So that's where the hard part is. The hard part is the data is messy. This is not accounting. This is not absolutes. You don't know how many people came to your website. You don't know how many people saw your ad. You don't know how many people clicked. You have an idea, a rough guess, a statistical likelihood that is a number you can deal with. But the only number that actually has value is the difference between yesterday and today, the difference between last month and this month. It is the trends. Is it up 1%? Is it down 10%? Is it staying the same? Because the data is technically difficult. It's technically messy. And then ultimately what we're trying to measure is psychology with humans. Right. Did they like the ad? Did it attract them? Did they click on it to make it go away, or did they click on it because they were interested in the product? That's psychology, and that is like messy on purpose. That's humans, and my God, humans.
Yeah, it also is variable.
Very.
You might feel differently about a product depending on a different hour of the day, the same day.
Oh, let's pick 5,000 different variables. Time of day of week, age, gender, culture, language you first learned, the temperature outside, when was the last time you ate? I mean, it's an infinite. It's actually infinite. So you take what numbers you can get your hands on, and you do your best to stabilize them. That the numbers we're collecting today, we're going to do it exactly the same way tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And oh, look, now we have a time series that we can play with, we can manipulate, we can see if we can glean meaning from it.
That's so okay. It's interesting how I group it, because I group marketing data and psychographic data as separate, kind of in my like mental framework when I'm talking to clientele.
Fair enough.
There is like overlap, and you can almost see what if you bought something that is kind of like a psychological tell into itself.
Yes.
So it's like they're voting with their dollar, so to speak.
And that is the ultimate number. That's accounting. That's a binary. They bought or they didn't buy.
Right.
They bought at this price, or when you made them an offer, they bought at that price. That is rigorous, actual, factual data. The problem is I spent this much money on advertising, that much money on email, this much money on social, this much money on fill in the blank. Did I spend wisely in order to get, did I overspend to get that sale? If I stop advertising altogether, will people still buy? Yes, but not as many. Oh, okay. Now I know that I have to keep advertising, except that when I turned my advertising off, and in order to find out if it was effective and I lost sales, the board of directors fired me. So it's a problem.
And see, it's almost a privilege that I'm working on such a micro scale, because like we're launching our learning platform now, and you're working with like what, Fortune 500 companies, and they scan like the entire world, all the different demographics,
and small businesses with one analyst, or small businesses that have no analysts. They just go out outside consultants.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of the role that I filled. So that's where I built my consulting agency, is around going in, and these companies don't have a full-time analyst. So that they'll come in and I'll kind of build out that infrastructure. But getting back to I'm going to start geeking out now. So we have our paid ads that we're testing right now. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of this, we've been running the podcast for 2 years, and we have like 150, 200 hours worth of long form content out there. From a psychological standpoint, people are so much kinder to me in their reviews on the course if they've listened to me. Because I'm starting to ask now, like when people sign up, I'll send them a quick email and say, hey, how did you find out about us? And I'm literally yesterday, someone said, I found out about you through your live stream on the Google certification. I've watched 45 of your podcast episodes.
Right.
And then I can see that it's like, oh, I've already won him over on the free side. And now he's giving me like 9s and 10s and 8s. And because at the end of each chapter, I say, what would you rate this across a few different demographics, to where I had someone come in, and I guess, I don't know, they just didn't. Well, and that's the complexity of it. Like maybe they did watch the podcast and they just didn't like my teaching style, which is different. I mean, it's
the best compliment you can get is somebody says, I didn't like this because there was too much information. I couldn't absorb it all. It was way over my head. It's too complex. And at the same time, somebody comes and says, I didn't learn anything. I know all this stuff. It's like, that means you hit the sweet spot. Well done.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh. Okay. So something I wanted to talk to you about, I keep seeing scaling ads all over your LinkedIn profile. What does that mean?
So I wear a couple of different hats. One hat is marketing analytics, and I've been doing that for 20 years. And the last couple of years, so I should explain that my income, it has traditionally been public speaking, and I produce my own conference. And then came COVID. So now I'm adding to my portfolio of helping small businesses scale at speed. And the shortest version of this is a company that is $1 or $2 million, 5 to 10 people. They're doing fine, but they can't seem to grow any further past that because they've optimized for where they are, and they need help pushing above that ceiling to get off that plateau and start the growth engine again. I'm very adamant it's not growth hacking, it's growth building. It's building company capabilities so that they can continue to scale.
What?
That is not about marketing analytics. So you might want to like put that one aside. Up to
Okay.
you.
Why don't you like the term hacking? I'm kind of.
The implication is that there's one stupid trick that everybody can do that will solve this problem. All you need is one viral video. All you need is one great salesperson. All you need is no. You need all of that stuff. And you have to do all of that stuff. And it's so daunting that I'm just too busy putting out fires. I don't know. So we come in and provide a framework for putting all those things in proper sequence. You have to do these things before you can do those things, and assigning tasks to individuals so that stuff gets done. And it's a 2-year program. It's not a simple hack.
Right. Well, and also too, from like a risk management perspective, having one video, I would rather have 100 videos with
Yes, you would.
10,000 views than
Absolutely.
one video with 10 million views.
Yeah,
So
just
it's
like
like
you would
a
rather
portfolio.
you'd rather have 100 customers that represent 1/100th of your business than one customer that represents 100% of your business.
Right. Okay. So you're right. We could totally wander off way down the rabbit hole. So let's
For
bring it
days and
back
days. Yeah, go ahead.
for the students here.
Yeah.
So would you say that there is a huge opportunity in that small to medium sized market for them to come in and start just analyzing sales and marketing data and just kind of become the go-to analyst
Yeah,
within
absolutely.
these kinds of organizations?
In COVID times, what we've discovered is that employees are really hard to find, and this is every single industry. I have talked to restaurant owners that will pay a new waiter $500 in cash just for showing up to work because we can't get people. The digital analytics world, the marketing analytics world, has been short of people from the start. I get emails every day saying, hey, here's a link to our job board. Can you please put it out on LinkedIn for us or tweet it out for us? Because we need people. It's like, yeah, so does everybody. So opportunity. Oh, yeah. Now, here's a fun part. What is it that you like to do in analytics? Because there are several different roles depending on your proclivity. So it all starts with the business need. And that starts with the business owner or the stakeholder who says, I have this problem. I'm looking for a solution. Maybe the data can help me. Okay, so that's one role. That person is totally responsible financially and from a reputation perspective and their career. They're on the hook, and they're turning to an analyst to take that business problem and translate it into a data problem. Okay, so the analyst says, I think I hear what you're trying to accomplish, and here's the data I think might help us. Now I'm going to turn to a data engineer who will collect the data, clean the data, munge the data together because I've got 3 or 4 different sources and I've got to put it together so it fits. Because this data source, the week starts on Monday, and this data source, the week starts on Sunday, and this data source only has monthly data, and I've got to merge all those together. That's a data engineer. Then turn to the data scientist who will say, well, I'm going to use these methods and build these models. I'm going to use predictive analytics. I'm going to use classic statistics. I might use machine learning to try to answer the question that the engineer had, or that the analyst had, with the help of the engineer. So you might want to jump right. Oh, I love just dealing with the data itself, building a strong data pipeline, building a platform that analysts can use. That's fun. Great, go for it. I'm more of a mathematician. I like the concept of building models and using statistics to bend the data to my will. Oh, you're a data scientist. That's great. My role, my people, my tribe, has been the analyst, the person who sits between the technology and the business and says, hey, there's a bazillion PhDs at Google who have put together Google Analytics. I'm going to use that tool to understand what's going on so I can give advice to the business owner. So you, dear student, get to decide what role you like to play. If you really love programming, learn R and Python and dabble in Power BI and the world's your oyster. I mean, people need your help. But if you're more interested on the business side, maybe analytics, being the analyst is more fun.
All right, I'm gonna actually pull in one of my students. So William, we were talking about this at the end of last class. So here, let me rearrange this a little bit. So you were talking about how you are an accountant and you're kind of more technically oriented, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So you might be more on the data science side, to where I often say, and it's kind of a running joke on the podcast, like I swim in the kiddie pool, or I've got my floaties on when it comes to math. Like I have it's like very simple stuff. Like, Jim, it sounds like you love these algorithms. But what I was telling William is that, so we just helped Molly, who's a childhood friend of mine. Like we took her and kind of like coached her through a 3-month process, and she got her first entry-level data science job for an accounting firm. So the demand is there, and she's learning Python, and she's kind of doing a hybrid role of kind of a data engineer and then a data scientist, because she's writing scripts that combine these huge data sets and then analyzing them on top of that. So it's like it sounds like the opportunity is just blowing up in that space.
And understand that the description of these 4 roles that I just described it's amorphous. It's Venn diagram time. Nobody can do all of it, but everybody does some of each other. So there's overlap everywhere. So whatever Molly is doing, after she's done it for a year, then she can understand what it takes and can do a deep dive on, oh, actually, this part of it is more interesting to me. I'm going to go seriously down that rabbit hole. Or, no, I like being up here across all of it. And that's a personal choice. The fact is, whatever your interest is, if you're dealing with marketing data, we need your help.
Okay, so William, let's get like specific with you. Like, where are you? Okay, question 1. I feel like I'm being like the data therapist right now. Are you more interested in things or people?
Things, probably. Yeah, I'd say things.
Right. See, I'm more interested in people. That's why I have a podcast. That's why, I mean, like it's fun for me. So it sounds like, all right. So number 1, you're on that technical end of the spectrum. You have an area of expertise, which is accounting. So like the fact that, and you're a senior, you haven't even graduated yet. So, I mean, it sounds like you've kind of got a career trajectory carved out. Jim, do you have any like advice on like how he could kind of explore that further, or maybe some next steps?
Career advice to somebody just starting. When you look back at your career from the other end, it will look like a straight line. But right now, there's no way to know. Half of the things you do are going to be by conscious choice without enough information to know if you're making the right choice. The other half will be dumb luck and circumstance. So have a goal, but don't beat yourself up for it. Don't stick to it to the exclusion of everything else. Do the thing that's the most interesting. That's probably the best advice I've got. If programming is interesting, if accounting is interesting, because then you really get into the guts of the business. If forensic accounting is interesting, because then lawyers will come to you and say, hey, tell us how these people actually did what they did. I mean, there's so many opportunities. So how do you pick? Rule number 1, don't work with assholes. That's just primary. And oh boy, there are a lot of them out there. If you go into an interview and they're like weird and they ask questions that they really shouldn't ask and they treat each other badly, walk away. Just walk away.
All right. I have an anecdote to share with you guys. So here's a huge red flag. I had someone ask me to do the project as part of the interview process. Mm-hmm. So they were immediately, well, actually, Jim, how about you dissect that a little bit? What do you think that precedent that sets of, hey, you're going to do this project before we even sign the contract and hire you?
The correct response to that is, hey, that sounds great. This is my hourly rate.
Right.
You've asked me to be a consultant and do work for you. That's great. Here's my hourly rate.
See, because what was interesting about that is that I kind of let it like brush over me. Then later that night, I was like, oh, that was so disrespectful. Like, they do not value my time. So they were like, oh yeah, just come in and do this project for free, and then because I'm putting way too much skin in the game, they have none. They have no commitment. And I work on this for, let's say it's even like just 20 hours. That's time that I could spend elsewhere getting a return for me.
Absolutely.
And yeah. So
now the problem is that a company that does that as a habit and nobody objects, they think it's okay. Hey, we can just have intern after intern after wannabe come in and do our work for us for free because they're willing to. But you as the provider of services have to say, great, here's my hourly rate.
Right. And then, well, because then they've created this whole culture of just, it's kind of wonky and lopsided.
Yep.
And
it's funny. So are you more interested in things or people or ideas? It's I like ideas. I like big picture. I like looking over the horizon and saying computers are going to be big. The internet's going to be big. Analytics is going to, machine learning is really interesting. So I have lately, because of this helping companies scale thing, have done a deep dive on people. And that's fascinating. Building a team and understanding what does a healthy company look like? And if I walk into a company and spend a day with them, you can tell if they are helping each other, if they're happy to be there, if they're taking responsibility as a group rather than trying to find somebody to blame. It's a healthy company. But if the vibe is bad, you know what? Life's too short.
Right. And I think a great way of experiencing that is through internships. So in my MBA program, I had 3 different internships, and you know what? I think I learned about myself, in that I can't work for a $1 billion company. I just feel like a faceless cog. To where it's interesting because like unpacking my own psychology. Yep. Jim, I think I'm very similar to you in that I'm very high in openness and I'm very ideas focused and very forward looking. To where if you are working as an analyst for a $12 billion company, you are in the manager class. So So
here's my advice for John.
Okay.
Write a book. And not so that you have written a book, but the process and the doors that it opens. So how much did I know about artificial intelligence and machine learning? Nothing. So what did I do? I went to the people that I know and said, tell me everything. Now tell me the people that you learned from. And I would cold call them and say, I'm writing a book and I'd like to interview you. It's like, oh, my ego says, yeah, sure. Come in and interview me. You bet. Whether I actually produce a book or not, okay, well, we'll see. Fortunately, I did. But if you find a topic that you are interested enough to do the research on, that you are going to go to other people, that's how you meet people in the industry. That's how you that's how I made a name for myself, saying I wrote a book about this stuff by asking a lot of people questions about stuff I didn't know anything about, but they were willing to answer my questions and they were willing to talk to me. And now they're in my, what we used to fondly refer to as Rolodex.
Right. Well, it's funny because the name of this podcast is How to Get an Analytics Job. It functions the same way. Because I can say, hey, I run a podcast on the analytics industry. I would love to talk to you about it. Although what's interesting is it's hit such a critical mass that I'm now having people reach out to me from relatively prominent positions. So it's funny how that works. Like
I warned you, I can go down any of these rabbit holes. Your job is to bring us back into whatever this class is supposed to be about. You want me to talk about getting a job? I can do that.
Okay. Yeah. I'll allow it. All right. William, all right. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for the advice.
Sure. Happy to.
All right. So yeah, advice on how to get a job. Because what we're doing right now is I just sent them a resume template, and we have 2 analytics internships that we are going to help them apply for, and we're going to use. I don't know if you've heard of Jobscan.
Nope.
But it's it's right up your alley. So it's artificial intelligence applied to resumes.
Okay. I have deep problem with that right off the bat.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is I love this, the spirit of debate. We had Sharon Vogler, who is the admissions counselor at Wake Forest Masters of Analytics program, come in and like she showed that to me. Mm-hmm. But I am totally you had my attention. Now you got my curiosity. Tell me what's the problem with that?
So, well, let's start with the Amazon story. Amazon, thousands of resumes a day come in. They built a model that said only show the people who are most likely to be successful to the human beings, because humans can't read all of these. And what is success? Well, the database was, here is everybody who works at Amazon. Here are the number of raises they've had, the number of direct reports they've had, the number of successful projects, the number of positive 360-degree reviews. This is all the metrics that we have of what makes a good employee at Amazon. And the machine said, oh, well, here are the resumes of old white men.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, oh, okay, we have a data problem. They removed all gender references. They removed the names, and they got resumes of old white men. And they went back and said, oh, okay, well, part of the process is that it looks at their LinkedIn profiles as well as their CVs. And there are things like, oh, I was on the women's basketball team. Okay, we have to strip that stuff out. Old white men. Okay,
Really?
It turns out that the narrative that people use to describe themselves is gender revealing. So they had to cut that out. I mean, it's a lot of work to make that possible. That's just step one. That's just bias in the data. We all know that exists. The other problem is,
I'm going to push back on you here. So, okay, to defend Sharon here. So I don't know. She's probably not going to watch this, but the state of getting your entry-level job is they use applicant tracking ATS software. Mm-hmm. So whether or not you we can unpack the morality and the effectiveness of artificial intelligence applied to the job search. They're using it regardless because they get 10,000 applicants per entry-level job. So I would say that the advice that she gave of using an artificial system to optimize the already built artificial intelligence system is really good advice, because you're going to get weeded out of the candidate pool before human eyes even come. It's just going to run through, because it's fascinating, because it has a breakdown of hard skills, which is obvious, but then they have the softer skills that are keyword optimized as well, which I think is fascinating. And we're going to have one of the students, I don't know which one of, multiple of them have said they want these two, they're analysts, internship analyst roles at Volvo. So we're going to see if we can get one of them in the door there. That would be fantastic. But we're going to have an episode about running them through that ATS system.
Good. The other issue that I have with automated resume review things is that they try to match it up with a job opportunity. Now, if you're at a large company and the marketing analytics person says, I need an analyst, and the human resources writes the job description, you already have a mismatch, because human resources has no idea what an analyst does. So that's a problem. If you have some serious hard skills, I am certified in Google Analytics, I have taken courses on Tableau, I know my way around Power BI, and you can put those up there, then the machine will say, human should look at this. Yeah, that's great. That's fine at that level. Terrific. But getting the job is a different animal. And there, the primary advice is be enthusiastic about the work, not the job. I want to work for Volvo. Okay, that's great. We all do. That's fine. Great. I want to be a junior associate analyst. Okay, good. I'm really curious about how people go about buying cars. Are you tracking this, and this, and comparing it to that? And you're hired. Sorry, that just come on in. If you walk into an interview asking questions about the data, it tells me you are curious, you are data forward, you enjoy this stuff. I can teach you Tableau. I can teach you database management. I cannot teach curiosity or enthusiasm. Walk in the door with that. I need you on my team.
Yeah, the hard skills are replaceable, but that mindset and that natural curiosity, and also too, I mean, you got to think about it from the standpoint of the hiring manager. If you are brilliant but unmotivated, you're very likely to go somewhere else because you're, highly desirable, but also not very interested.
If you spend all of your spare time plowing through baseball statistics and that really turns you on, go talk to some baseball companies, go talk to the broadcast media who are looking at baseball. Like, go where that work is being done, because that is your joy, that's your soul. They will hire you.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's like a whole like ecosystem of analytics YouTubers, and Ken G comes to mind, and I'm on their private Discord server, and they're building out like machine learning algorithms to predict like fantasy football or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not a sports ball person, so I have no idea what they're talking about, but they are super passionate about it, and they're also using it. Well, two things. It's improving their personal brand because it's giving them a strong narrative to tell, while also simultaneously improving their hard skills.
And building their professional network.
True, yeah.
They're hanging out with other people like them, and they get to know each other. That's really central. It is. I can't tell you how important it is to keep in touch with people who are in the industry you're interested in. And here's a side note, parenthetical. Somebody you look up to somebody as an expert, go ask them a bunch of questions. And here's why. The way that an expert proves that they're an expert is by answering a bunch of questions. So it's flattering. Don't be intimidated by somebody who's been in the industry forever. Just reach out and say, I wonder about this. Do you have any resources? And if you can get a dialogue going and then you appear on their radar, then you're part of their circle, their professional network.
True. You've got to be a little careful though in that. So wait, let me make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. So ask the experts questions, like where would that be? Like on LinkedIn or something?
Anywhere you can find them. Twitter, LinkedIn, email. Go to a conference and whoever the keynote speaker is, go up to the stage afterwards and hand them a business card and say, I'd like to ask you some questions about blah, blah, blah. Is it okay if I email you?
Okay. Interesting. So I agree and disagree because the amount of messages that I'm getting, people being, well, okay. I see the logic because you're making an emotional bed and a connection with that person, but I get almost like demanding messages. Like here, it's like a whole paragraph and it's like, I need you to do this, this, and this. And it comes off as almost disrespectful, like, and kind of transactional. Like, so here's my life story. Here, I need you to solve this problem for me.
Okay, here's my hourly rate.
Right.
It's transactional. But if they say, I also do mentorships. And I had one woman come to me and say, I've been doing digital analytics for a while, but I'm really interested in cybersecurity. How do I go about doing that? And I said, well, go to LinkedIn, find the people who are keynoting at cybersecurity conferences and ask them exactly what you just asked me. And within a week, 5 leading cybersecurity people were giving her advice on what to study and how to get a job.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're all humans. We're all there to help each other.
That's true. I guess it depends on the tone and also the medium. Because if I post something on LinkedIn and then you ask me a question about it in the comment, that boosts my signal out on the algorithm. So I get further. Because it feels like it. I would say that is good advice, but it's like you need to be a little bit more empathetic of that person on the other side.
All I'm saying is don't be intimidated.
Okay.
If you reach out to somebody with a question, however you do it, and they don't answer, maybe they're too busy. Maybe it went into their spam folder. Maybe they're just not a good human being.
Hey, whoa, that's intense right there. Okay. All right. So now I guess I should ask you before this, so like we should have prepped a little bit more. Do you do much email marketing work?
I do email marketing. I mean, again, I am an industry watcher and consultant. I am not a hands-on analyst by trade.
Okay, I was just clarifying that like this isn't kind of outside of the purview of like where you're. So I wanted to bring a student on and
Okay.
have that student explain what we talked about in class and then the project that's coming up, because the idea is that they're going to talk about it like maybe this is something they could bring up like a narrative in an interview setting.
Ah, great.
All right, so Aiden, I hope you're ready. Aiden, how's it going?
Going well. How are you?
Hanging in there. I feel pretty good. I was about to say I like this new background. So the producer at Santa Barbara, when I was recording, helped me like set up this whole new setup, which is awesome.
It's a little bit nicer than my bedroom wall, but we're making it work.
I get it.
Hello, sir. How are you?
So let's start with the question of Aiden, and we're in like mock interview space now. So Aiden, I heard that you've done some email marketing work. Tell me a little bit about the project that you worked on.
Yes. So we recently went over creating an email marketing campaign for the the new retail sales analytics course that's being offered. We just wanted to highlight some of the key features that were advertised in the course in our email, along with a video attachment that's an advertisement. And included in the email, of course, will be a link to the course.
Awesome. So tell me, how are you going to track success on that campaign?
So we were thinking mostly with interactions such as link clicks and video views with the stuff that we have attached.
Okay. So what are the specifically, what are the KPIs involved within this project?
One was interactions, correct? I'm trying to remember. I thought I had this written
I would
down.
say, I would say click-through rate. So, all right, click-through rate. But before they can click on that, what do you have to do?
You have to move your mouse over it and interact with it. I forget the term.
Even before that.
Even before that, yeah.
You have to open the email?
Yes.
Right. There you go. All right. Great job.
And what has to happen before that? It has to be deliverable.
Right.
So we have to have a email address that actually works. So
interesting. So you just added another layer to this. So what do you mean by that, deliverable?
Mickey Mouse at upyournose.com will bounce back. Somebody signed up for your newsletter with a fake email address.
Actually, I just sent out, let's make this extremely concrete. I just sent out an email. Let's add this to the stream. So I sent out an announcement email just for everybody who's watching can see this in concrete terms. So this is my MailChimp account, and we can see the campaigns right here. And it's funny, Jim, because you're saying the deliverable there, the way I've learned email marketing through MailChimp. So maybe they're not doing a great job of educating the educator. So if we, actually it didn't get sent. I need to send that. No, wait, it did. I hit send on it. Well, actually, we're gonna have to send it right now, aren't we? Okay. Well, we'll take a look at one of the previous email campaigns. I kind of love this being live because it's like you have no idea what's going to happen. It's like not prepared at all.
So step one of deliverable is that it's a good email address. Step two is that it does not go into their spam filter. So deliverability is, did the human being see it? Did the human being have an opportunity to open it or not, is the first question.
Okay. So that gets into bounce rate, correct?
Well, bounce rate bounce rate usually is referred to on landing pages. So let's not use that term. It's, is it a valid email address? That's step one. Did it get into their spam filter? That's step two. And there's a ton of stuff you can go online to find that if you use these words, chances are excellent they're going to think it's spam. There are some tools out there that'll read your email in advance and say, oh, you might want to change some of these because it's probably going to hit the filter. So do you have a good address? Did it get into their inbox? Did they open it? That's where we start.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Aiden, I hadn't. Oh, wait, on Thursday, did we go into the interface and like open things up?
We did not know.
Okay, cool. So we're exploring this together for the first time. All right, so this is the report tracking any specific orders, which Jim, I'm sure you could get into rabbit hole and attribution and how complex it can be to track sales.
Extremely. But what we can see immediately is people like videos.
Yeah, we got our, yeah. Right. So we got the link here, and then also interesting. So we can see we've got the 3 different courses, and we can see that, oh, people like the sales course over the marketing and the survey. And then also some people clicked on our LinkedIn page, which I'm kind of surprised by that because I thought they would have already been following us if they were on our email list.
Maybe they're just using it for navigation.
Oh, true. Cool. All right. So what did you think of Aiden's presentation? Like, you have any kind of feedback?
I first of all, the knowing what the questions are going to be so you have the answers in advance is valuable.
Right.
Next is hoping for any results. Like what did you learn from having sent all this stuff out? And if you said, well, so far all we know is people really like videos, it's like, great, that's a legitimate discovery. Well done.
I love that. Yeah, and it was kind of cool that we got to see one of the emails. We could say, all right, this is, so you pulled an insight out. And maybe this is too rigid of me as a professor, but thinking about, I kind of give them a narrative structure of, all right, what was the biggest insight? How did you track success? It's kind of like a modification of the STAR method.
Mm-hmm.
But Aiden, I think you did a great job, especially because I threw these questions at you and I didn't let you prepare.
There we go. Even better. And then depending on who the audience is, maybe you don't go into too much detail about how you had multiple links going to the same place and you tested out what words got people to click more and all that stuff. Maybe you keep it higher level than that. But on the other hand, if somebody you're talking to is more data intense,
Mm-hmm.
they would ask questions about, oh, well, how did you segment the emails that you sent out? Did you create micro segments? You had, 1,000 people. Did you send different messages to different groups? And how did you decide which ones to put in which groups? And that's next level stuff.
Right.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I like that. So you kind of gave them like, here's the framework, but if you wanted to go more intense. So it sounds like most of the people that are kind of in your orbit, Jim, are like more kind of senior or advanced analysts.
It's the whole range. I mean, there's people who've
Okay.
been in it for 10 minutes and people who've been in it for 20 years.
Ah, gotcha. Awesome. Well, Aiden, what did you think? Did you feel good about it?
Yeah, no, I definitely wanted some more ideas on how to refine the presentation. And then I think it's a really great idea too, is being conscious of your audience and making sure
Right.
that what you're presenting is tailored. Because you're right, if you're talking to someone who isn't well versed in some of these data fields, like they're not going to care. But vice versa, if you talk to an expert, you want to get really into the nitty gritty.
And it all depends. So when I am recruiting people to speak at my conference, I say, tell us about the thing that's most interesting to you about the project and the data and the results, because your enthusiasm will be of interest to the audience. But when you're delivering this sort of information to a business person, it's like, we're trying to sell tickets to this event. We're trying to sign students up for this class. Don't tell me about how you got the data and how you put the data together and the difficulties you had. Very interesting to you, but not to me.
Right.
When I talk to the doctor, I don't want to know all about how the blood analysis machine works. I don't care. I just want to know, do I need to take medication?
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, Aiden, thank you so much. You're a champ. And You're brave today.
Thanks
You
for
killed
being
it.
on the hot seat.
Absolutely. Thank you for all the help.
Pleasure.
Awesome. Okay, Jim. So what we're going to do is hop into another segment where I'm just going to go through lectures. But you have been fantastic today.
This has been fun. Thanks for having me along. And I think the subliminal message to your students is if you have any questions, reach out to me on LinkedIn.
There you go. Awesome. Well, Jim, you were our first guest lecturer of the semester. So we're still ironing out some of the wrinkles and getting the bugs out. But I think this went relatively smooth. So thank you so much.
I think it was terrific. Thanks for having me, everybody.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Okay. So let's jump into a quick commercial break. I need to take a break myself. So let's jump into... Are you looking for real data to analyze? An actual problem to solve? An experience worth talking about in an interview? Well, in this case study course, you get a real-world problem with a messy data set and a business outcome that's on the line. My name is John David, and I'm the founder of Silvertone Analytics, a boutique consulting agency that focuses on business analytics. I'm also a professor of analytics at Greensboro College. And in 2021, I had the privilege of combining these two worlds. My real-world Greensboro College students got to work with my Silvertone Analytics clientele for the Analytics Minor capstone course at Greensboro College. This case study course is modeled after the lessons, the trials, and the tribulations that my students went through in the Analytics Minor capstone course. My students got to work directly with the president of an organization that is clearing over $150 million in revenue every year. And this case study course keeps the exact same data structures that they worked through in that case study. But I anonymized the data to protect my client's privacy. So are you ready to solve a real-world business use case? Build a killer analytics portfolio, and even learn how to communicate these findings in an interview setting? Well, click the Take This Course button now and join me inside. All right, so now let's jump into our actual lecture series. So I wanted to start off with a very broad question. What is marketing? And here is the official definition of the Oxford Dictionary. It's the action or business of promoting and selling products or services. This includes market research and advertising. So how can data plug into marketing as a whole? Marketing analytics. So at a very high level, you get to see what's resonating out on the marketplace. So it's kind of like, you know how cats are nocturnal and they have their little whiskers? You can do that with marketing. So you can spend a small amount of money and get a signal relatively quick. You know, do women between the age of 25 and 34 in California like our product? Well, let's build out a very targeted ad campaign, throw, $200 towards them and see if that actually resonates. It's an effective way to test the demand, marketing message, positioning, and pricing. So that's exactly what we're doing currently with our learning platform. And before we get into that, let's talk about the different types of marketing data. So we are not going to go over social media, but I feel like everyone kind of intuitively knows that. So social media data, the way that you can see if you're tracking success are the likes, the comments, and the shares. So how much, are people interacting with your brand? And this relates back to the whole hashtag GC analytics. So if you are posting content out there, someone likes or comments on it, it's going to boost that signal on the algorithm. And it's going to bring opportunity into your life, whether you're an organization or you're just trying to get your first job. All right. Then we have our email marketing, and Aiden crushing it. You got open and click-through rate. So good job there. So open rate is you send an email to someone, do they open it up? And the click-through is, oh, there's a link within this email. Let me click on it. All right. And finally, we have our paid advertisements. And we're going to walk through a very specific example coming up. So with paid advertisements, you spend money, for example, on YouTube. If you've spent any amount of time on there, you've probably been hit with one of those ads that you can click skip after 5 seconds. So the metrics within those kinds of advertisements are cost per click, view rate, impressions, and conversions. All right, so let's see this in action. And I want to make this concrete because I feel like most of the lectures I've seen have been kind of vague and high level. So we're currently in the process of promoting the Learn.Silvertone Analytics platform. And we have developed over the past 2 or 3 months a preliminary ad strategy. And there are 3 videos that have been placed in front of YouTube videos. So it's that skippable 5-second ad. 2 of the videos are scripted ads. 1 is a student testimonial. So here is a week's worth of data with that initial plan. You can see that we have 4,000 impressions, 450 views, a cost of 242, and we have 26 clicks. So kind of curious if you guys think that this is going well, going bad. The answer is that it really depends. So if you're spending, let's see, I calculated it out, $9.31 per click on an item that is $20,000 to purchase, you can probably get away with that. But if you recall, we're selling our courses for $200. Now, I should have asked Jim before he left about this conversion rate. So my marketing team is saying anywhere between 1% and 3% is to be expected. So let's just kind of slice it right down the middle and say, let's assume we have a 2% conversion rate. This means that on average, it's going to take 50 clicks for you to close 1 deal or get 1 person to buy. So let's do kind of the kindergarten math. So $9.31 times 50 is $465.50. That's how much we'd have to spend to get, expect to have 1 sale come through. So kind of working that math further, if we're selling it at $200, spending $465 on ads, then we're losing a lot of money. We're way, way in the red. So then this is kind of to be expected. So, I mean, when you're just creating your first ad campaign, you have no idea what's going to be working, but there are a bunch of different levers that we can pull. So if we were to take a closer look at this, actually, I'm going to pull in one of the students. So let's see. I'll pull William back in. So William, let's take a look at this. What's going on? So we have our 3 different ads. So that top one, the case study testimonial, is someone who took the course and then just we recorded them talking about it. Then the bottom 2 are our marketing, those are ads that I scripted myself. Are you tracking?
Yeah, it looks like the marketing analytics case study, the top one's the best one, right?
Right. Okay. Maybe. Why are you saying that?
I don't know. I was going to go off most views and impressions, but the view rate is higher for the analytics, the second one.
Think through, William, what is the KPI in the situation? What is the thing that's driving sales? Is it views?
No.
Is it view rate?
Be clicks.
Clicks. There you go. All right. Bam. Oh.
So it would be the top one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just looking at it, I don't even have to do the hard math. 39 clicks at a cost of $171 versus 18 at 226. I mean, that's a huge discrepancy right there. And then for whatever reason, I'm not sure why I just had a daily budget of $25. I'm not sure why they allocated such little money towards the second ad. But anyways, so what we can glean from this, actually, I'm not going to tell you. You tell me what is something we can get out of this? What is an actionable recommendation? So think about, there are 3 different ads here. What are the 2 different types of ads?
I don't follow your question.
Okay. So what is something that we can learn from this insight?
your
So there are
cost per
two.
click?
Well, okay, so there are two different types of ads. So maybe what we should do is go down one path or the other in terms of reinvesting the money. Like what we could do is, okay, we have 3 ads, let's kill one of them and not put money behind it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So just get rid of one of the ads and put more money into the other ad.
Right. Or do you think we should kill 2 of the ads?
I feel like it'd be good just to only do one of them.
Okay. All right. Well, the insight that because I've been working through this with my marketing team. What we decided was that the scripted ads are not performing well. So what we're going to do is double down on testimonials. So what we did was, we pivoted the strategy, and here is like the second iteration of those ads. So what do you think? Do you think this is doing better, worse?
Looks better. Got more clicks.
A lot of clicks, but what about because we could have just thrown a lot of money at it. What do you think?
Yeah. The cost also increased, did it not?
Let's see. I think it went way down, actually.
Yeah, it did. Way down.
242. Right. All right. So now let's calculate the return on investment here. So the cost per click, we spent $74, got 61 clicks. That's an average cost per click of $1.21. Then let's multiply that by the 50, so that 2% conversion rate. And we're spending on average $60.50 to get one sale. And that sale is $200. So if this is, this is where Jim would chime in and say, there's so many other factors here. So this is just the assumption. This is just like the if everything, all else held perfect, we would make roughly $140 of profit per sale, which would be nice. But there are other factors. So this sounds like, all right, we're going to test this theory and see if that assumption reigns true. Awesome. All right, I think we're at the end here. William, do you have that Google Doc of the email marketing pulled up?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I have it.
So, and then also, so you're on one team. Aiden, you're on the other team, right? Wait, I can't hear you.
Yes, I'm on the other
Okay.
team.
All right. So what we can do is let's review the approach to the email marketing. So we'll go into this kind of next segment. All right. Well, why don't I just bring everybody? Natalie, you're on now. Davis, I can see your private chat. So you're doing the math. Okay. All right. So, how about this? We'll have each team share your screen. Oh no, we're having somebody's got some background noise. I'm wondering who that is. Let me try. Okay. Is it you, Davis? All right. There's multiple background noise, so I'm just going to do one of you guys at a time. William, do you have that document pulled up?
The Excel file?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So click share. It's that middle button at in the bottom.
Share screen?
Yeah. That was Aiden who's had all the background noise. Okay.
Do you see it?
There we go. I can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So you got the Excel pulled up, but do you have, I was talking about the email marketing plan that you guys developed. It was a shared Google Doc. There we go. All right. So walk me through the plan that you developed, because I'm very curious now.
So Devin came up with the subject line, which I wish he was in here so he could talk about it, but we wanted to be like personalized. So
okay. What's funny is the last year's cohort said the same, they use almost the exact same thing. My question is, do you guys talk to each other like that? Am I just like a boomer that like is like unrelatable? Do you guys say hip?
Devin does. I don't usually
Right,
use the word
right.
template.
Okay. Well, we can leave that, although we may want to put that into like a little bit more, I guess, approachable language.
Mhm.
But okay, so sorry, I'm getting nitpicked. I'm like nitpicking on a specific detail. It's just a funny like coincidence that you guys had like the same thing. It's like maybe you saw a movie or something where they said that. Okay, so what is the overall? I can take that subject line and modify it a little bit to put it in my tone for my audience. But yeah, that works. So the insight there is make it personable. Don't make it kind of corporate or stuff.
Right. Yeah. Something that would appeal to the audience.
Okay.
To increase your open rate.
All right.
Then we have the course. Right. Yeah. Picture of the video and then the link to it. So this is the link to the website, the Sales Analytics Case Study.
Okay.
Course. And then we wanted to include some like benefits of watching the video, or like why you should take the course, pretty much.
Okay.
And I can't remember what you told me, but you said you work with Tableau in it.
Yeah, you're using Tableau to build out a case study portfolio piece on Tableau Public.
Okay, right. So yeah, so it'd help you with that too. And then closing sentence, we said we hope you are ready to take your education to a higher level and propel yourselves in the changing world of sales case study analytics. So pretty much just another reason why you should take it and why it would help you.
Okay. Yeah. So basically what I wanted to get out of you guys is that, all right, you chose kind of a direction, and then you have some text that I'm going to kind of spruce it up a little bit, probably put it in my tone, but good job. I mean, this is cool. Who is in the other group? Natalie is in your group.
Yes. Me, Devin, and Natalie.
Okay. Davis, can you pull up your plan? I'm afraid to pull Aiden back on because his mic was being real loud. There's some like background noise or something. Oh yeah. Let me pull Davis in. Hey. You got it. All right. So let's see what your plan is.
Can you see it?
Yeah. So okay. Well, it's very small on my end because I've got my laptop here and I've got a big screen over here, and I don't have my mouse connected right now. It's on the clicker pad. Okay. So, that's better. Okay. So subject line introducing. All right. So this is a nuanced point. So the other team wanted it to be kind of more casual. This is kind of more straight to the point.
Yes. Concise was the idea.
Concise. Okay.
Yeah. Just very, very like, we have a new course. This is what we're going to do. Here's the link. And yeah, it's certainly much shorter than the other one.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter what you do. It just matters that we do something and it's different than each other. I mean, like you guys competing it's like just more for fun. Like sending out an email is very low risk on my end. It's not like there's a huge amount of, if you guys write a bad email, it's not like half the list is going to go away. Well, maybe, I guess if it were like super, super bad, but okay. All right. So what else is going on in there?
So this is essentially you would see the video there. It wouldn't be just like a link like that. And then this is the link to your Silvertone Analytics website, obviously. And then we inserted this key features box to just sort of highlight the important parts of what it will do for you.
Okay. Did you want me to include that as an image, or did you want me to type that out? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say imaged because it sort of gets rid of some of the negative space because an email is a lot of white space. But,
okay.
Yeah, that's the point.
Awesome. All right. So let me see if I'm understanding this correctly, and I can pull William back in and drop that live stream just so that I know the plan that you guys have laid out. All right. So William, your approach for your email is that it's going to be more casual and it's going to be a lot more kind of like detailed. Like there's a lot more text and it's casual. Davis, your team, it's going to be not very casual, concise, kind of like, here's what we have, here's the link. I'm curious to see how it'll go. I mean, it'll be pretty interesting. Do you guys have any final thoughts on that?
Yeah, I want to see what the results are as well. It's kind of cool.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to make this class as interactive as possible. So it's like, I'm not just standing up telling you guys what to do. You guys are getting to like interact and do things. You have your own agency. I mean, if it's crazy, I'll be like, hey, you guys may want to chill out a little bit. But okay, so we have 19 minutes left. I think we've kind of covered everything. I'm curious, what do you guys think of having a guest lecture on? Have you guys ever had that before?
Yeah, but not for data analytics.
Right.
But no, yeah, it was cool. He seemed like he knew what he was doing.
So, Davis, I think you're going to be really happy. Next week we have somebody he lives in Oslo, Norway, and he is analytics manager who works in Power BI. So we're going to have, and that's kind of, this is a segue into like, what I want is for you to create the underlying data file that we're going to use in class on Thursday. I'm going to have each of you guys build out a Tableau dashboard, and that way a Power BI dashboard, and that way he can come in and kind of critique your work. But what we need is the underlying data source. So here, I'm going to drop you, and then Davis, will you share your screen again?
Sure.
Okay, so pull up that Excel file. And what I want to do is add 2 new dimensions, which are going to be filters in the dashboard that we're going to build on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to have to do, though, is create a new tab. And we're going to have to, this isn't necessarily best practice, but it is with the limited resources that we have. What we're going to do is create a topic, a primary topic and a secondary topic. So do you have any initial thoughts on how you could create that file?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure what you're referring to.
Okay, so like, you remember last class where you did the left 4 and you pulled out the year from timestamp, and then you created a year column?
Left 4. Oh, slightly.
Right. So what we're going to do right now, the data is really tall, but very, very slim. Mm-hmm. So if we add another few dimensions to it, it's going to be wider, which means that we can slice through the data in different ways.
Okay.
In more ways. So what I want you to do is, all right, I guess I'll just, since you have no idea, I'll give you, what you can do is take course name, copy the entire column, like highlight the entire column, copy it, open it up in a new sheet.
Let's see.
Or just, you can go down to, it says sheet 1 down there. So just paste it in there. Okay. So what we can do is isolate each of the course titles by removing duplicates. So highlight it again. And then I think you have to go data, remove duplicates. Click on the data tab.
Let's see.
It's to the right more. I think right. Oh, to the left.
Is
it's really.
Oh,
it's really, yeah, I think that's it right there, right? Here, let me maximize this screen so I can see better.
Oh, here it is.
Right. So remove all the duplicates there.
Just hit OK or?
Yeah, hit OK. All right. You see what happened now?
Oh, okay. I understand. Okay.
Right. So now what we're going to do is have each individual course, the primary topic and the secondary topic. So, I mean, this isn't really cheating. I could just tell. I mean, you can kind of figure it out. So, like in column B, you can see the first row is going to be the main topics tableau. Or go back to sheet 1. So next to course name. So click on course name. Oh, right there. Yeah. And then go over one cell. Okay, now type in primary topic. And then secondary topic next to it. Okay. So now, right under primary topic, just type in Tableau. Like you can see which ones are Power BI or Tableau.
Okay.
So down, the next one is Power BI. So what we're doing by creating this extra sheet and the ability to add in filters in the Power BI workbook.
You want me to go all the way down?
Yeah, you can do that. I'm realizing like we don't have to go through the entire thing because I mean I've already done it, so I can send you guys the file. But what I wanted you to see is like how you can manipulate the data to isolate. So, Davis, tell me what did you do to isolate the data?
The pivot charts is what you're referring to?
No. So the pivot charts were how you analyzed it, but here what we're doing is we're just making the data set more robust and more rich.
Not gonna lie, I have no clue.
So you copied like a dimension and then isolated just the titles, and then now we're adding in more detail to it. So here, let me see if I can pull this up on mine. So I do have. I'm realizing this is kind of complex to explain. So instead of making you go through line by line each one and boring the audience here, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my. Oh, interesting. All right, so we got Matt here. Another way that we could have done. The internet's dragging. Where did that file go? Hey, can you guys still hear me? It seemed like the internet.
I can hear you now. I could not hear you a second ago.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. All right, so I don't know why the Excel is not loading on my computer right now. I don't know. But what I did was I combined all of that data. So we have the course, we have the review, then we have primary and secondary topic. So what we're going to do in the Thursday class is we're going to create a dashboard where you can filter on topic and on secondary topic. All right, here we go. Man, that just took forever for Excel to load. So, all right. Let me share this other screen of mine. Oh. So yeah, I can share this screen here. Screen 1. Okay, so you guys see that? Dave, do you see what I'm talking about? So now we have course name, timestamp, rating, comment. Then we have topic and secondary topic.
Okay.
So here I feel like I've lost you a little bit. So I want you to see what I mean by, oh man, I don't know why my computer's dragging right now. I wanted to pull this into, let's do a pivot chart. So I'm going to show you the functionality. This is what we're going to do in Power BI on Thursday if my Excel is going to work. I don't know why it's going so slow. So what we can do is look at our secondary topic and then our rating. So now we can see the breakdown of not just each individual course name, but we can look at, all right, so here's an insight. All right, it looks like I'm not doing great on certifications. So maybe I need to rethink the way that I structured those courses. But I'm doing fantastic with Excel, and also my sales analytics courses are doing fine. Marketing, not so much. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I wasn't super confident.
Yeah, I think I understand.
Okay. Well, so that's like a little teaser of what we're going to be building out in Power BI. Because the way that the Udemy data was originally we could look at like 2 or 3 things. So I wanted to add some additional layers of data there. But we have got, it's 2:51 and we are wrapping up our second live stream. Davis, you've been a champ. Thank you so much for being on here, so active. All right. So I got one private chat. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to play one last commercial break and then we're going to call it a class. Thank you guys so much for being on here. This has been fun. In this case study course, you're going to learn 3 things. Number 1, you're going to improve your business acumen. This means that you're going to learn about how business works. Then we're going to move into the second point, which is analytics hard skills. So once we understand how the business works, we're then going to use some business intelligence tools, specifically Tableau, to solve the business problem and uncover insights. And then the third point, which is very, very important, are the soft skills. And the whole last chapter is dedicated to how you can more effectively explain your findings and also talk about past projects in an interview setting. To be a little bit more specific, you're going to be calculating the return on investment of 2 different marketing channels. So we're going to be looking at our Amazon and our Facebook ad spend. And there are 3 different data sources. So our first data source is our cost data source. And this is where we can see all of the ad spend, and it's in one data source. Then there is a sales data source for Facebook and a sales data source for Amazon. The challenge is that we're going to have to combine all 3 of these data sources together and then isolate our spending data and associate it with the relevant sales data source. By the end of the project, you're going to figure out which of these has the highest return on investment. But you're also going to have a challenge where you're going to visualize the data and see if there are any insightful trends that you could communicate to our end client. So if you're up for a challenge, then sign up and let's get started. All right. Well, class dismissed. I will see you guys on Thursday. Also, everybody in the live chat, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later.